My name is Kay, and I am 13 years old. When I was a child, I lost my parents in a car accident. Since then, I have lived with my grandparents, and I must confess, they love me far more than their other grandchildren. This story goes back a few years. I had travelled to a foreign country with my grandparents. When we arrived, we stayed at my uncle's house. It was large, but the atmosphere felt strange and heavy, as if something unseen was lingering in the air. After 20 days, my grandparents and I went to my aunt's house, who lived in the same city. That night, I was left alone in her house for a few hours. They gave me an empty room with just a bed and a window that opened onto a dark garden. I slept there for 3 nights, but on the third night, everything changed. Around 2 a.m., I had a dream. In it, my cousin, who was 18, was standing at my door. Her face looked terrifying in the shadows, her eyes glinting unnaturally. In a cold, trembling voice, she said, "You don't know how much you've hurt me." Before I could even understand what she meant, I woke up, heart hammering against my ribs. My hands were cold. "Calm down, Kay," I whispered to myself. It was just a dream. Just a dream. But the fear hadn't left my mind yet. The next night, I had the same dream again. Only this time, it was even more vivid. Her voice, her eyes, her presence at the door. It felt so real that I could almost feel her breath on my skin. I couldn't bear it any longer. Shaking, I ran out of the room and went straight to my aunt's room. Through trembling lips, I told her everything. She looked at me, worry flickering across her face, and said softly, "Go to Raya's room and sleep with Zima. Zima was only 3 years old then. Maybe you'll calm down." That night, I went and slept in the room that had once belonged to my aunt's daughter, who had moved to another city for college. The room smelled faintly of old perfume and books, but at least it felt safer than the one with the dark garden outside. When I woke up the next morning, terror gripped me. My body felt sore. Reaching back, my fingers brushed something wet. In the mirror, I saw deep, angry scratches across the back of my neck and down under my feet, as if invisible hands had grabbed me and dragged me through my dreams. I stumbled to my aunt, tears burning in my eyes. "Look," I whispered. She turned pale the instant she saw the wounds. Without a word, she fetched some medicine and gently applied it to my skin. Her hands trembled as she worked. From that day on, I never slept in that room again. I stayed close to my grandparents until we finally returned to our own country. A few years passed. This time it was my aunt and her family who came to our country to visit my grandparents. Zima had grown older, and my cousin Raya had already finished college and was accompanying her parents. That day we laughed a lot. Each member of the family shared memories, old stories, and jokes. The house felt warm and full of life. But when night came and it was time to sleep, my aunt asked, "Can the children sleep in your room?" Honestly, I didn't want them to, but I was too shy to say no. And besides, there wasn't any other room available in my grandparents' house. So, reluctantly, I agreed. My cousin came into my room along with Zima. It was midnight. I remember that night clearly. Raya, Zima and I were playing on my Xbox, and afterward, we watched a movie together. I don't remember exactly what time we fell asleep, perhaps around 2:30 or 3 a.m., but I do remember what happened next. A sudden, icy chill crawled over my body and snapped me awake. The air felt heavier than before, pressing against my chest. From the window came a faint whistling sound, like someone trying to call from far away. Slowly, I raised my head. My eyes adjusted to the dim light of the room, and then I froze. Right in front of me stood three white-clad creatures. Their shapes were vague, like misty shadows, but I could see their outlines. They weren't moving, but their presence was suffocating. There was no sound. Even my heart seemed to stop beating for a moment. The phone slipped from my trembling hand and hit the floor with a dull thud. I screamed. Everyone woke up and rushed into my room. Zima was still there, sitting up with frightened eyes. But Raya, my cousin, was gone. She wasn't there. Panic swept through the house like a cold wind. We all searched for her, every corner, even the bathroom. She was nowhere. Then, after a few minutes, she suddenly appeared behind us, her face pale, her eyes strangely calm. In a quiet voice, she said, "I was just in the bathroom." But we had all seen it. There had been no one there. That night, I didn't sleep. I couldn't even close my eyes. Every creak of the house, every whisper of the wind made my heart race. From the next morning on, one thought consumed me, counting the days until my cousin Raya and her family left. A few days later, when I was alone with my grandparents, I finally told them everything. They listened silently and then said in calm voices, "They'll be leaving in 4 weeks." But even 4 weeks felt unbearable. I could not stay alone with Raya. My heart kept telling me something was wrong with her, something I couldn't explain. Eventually, the weeks passed. They packed their belongings and returned to their home. But still, whenever I hear the wind whistle in the middle of the night, I remember those 3 white ghosts, and my body trembles.